That was the heaviest adrenaline rush I've ever felt.
Yeah.
In
and it
my
happens
life.
so fast, it's so quick.
But like, you could literally slam and break it again.
I mean, there was metal in there.
You say that so casually. Because I saw what it looked like with you.
Right.
That steer was not casual.
That's when I saw a surgeon walk into the door frame holding 2 bags of blood and was like, hey, you guys got to stop. We got to get this girl back to the OR right now or she's going to die.
Welcome to the Team Ignition Show.
There is a saying that sometimes you need to grab life by the horns and get after it. Well, today's guest, Jorden Halvorsen, that's what she does for a living. Except when she is grabbing said life by the horns, she is sitting on a bull and riding it. She is a world champion of women's bull riding. And our guest today on the Team Ignition podcast. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Earlier today, you instructed me in the ways of bull riding, and I actually got to ride a bull. So make sure that you tune in and watch this episode of the Team Ignition Show on teamignition.net so that you can see that I'm not lying. First question, shameless self-promotion. How did I do?
Truthfully, I think you did pretty good because you didn't fall off out the gate.
Right.
You rode him like almost to the fence, which is like pretty impressive. That's like 4 jumps.
Thank you.
And yeah, I thought you did great. Like, I mean, you're not a horseback rider.
Nope.
You are an athlete.
Thank you.
You have good balance. So like, I mean, you were not completely walking into it without having any kind of, downfall, but, it worked.
I was terrified. Absolutely terrified. And for those of you who are listening and not watching, we are actually doing this in the paddock on the ranch where there are all sorts of animals, including the roosters that are competing for attention.
That have not made a sound all day until today.
We literally tried to start this conversation earlier. They went crazy. We stopped, restarted, and as soon as we started, they're like, "Yeah, this is our ranch. This is our time. This is our ranch." So we'll dance with them. I'm going to get to go and watch you compete in Beaumont, Texas at a rodeo. Describe rough stock rodeo for someone who knows nothing.
So rough stock, there's 3 rough stock events in rodeo. It's the bareback riding, which is bucking horses. It's the saddle bronc riding, which is also bucking horses. And then it's bull riding. And so I do the bull riding, which is a bovine. And our goal is to ride them. Their goal is to not let you ride them. And then saddle bronc riding, which is a rough stock event, is bucking horses, and it's a saddle, association saddle. And then bareback riding is where they hold on with the rigging and they lean back really far and they ride a bucking horse.
And what is deemed success in bull riding?
So to be successful in bull riding, you have to make an 8-second qualified ride without fouling or, without disqualifying yourself. So touching them with your free hand, as long as you don't disqualify them with your free hand and make a 8-second qualified ride.
And then you get a score.
Then you get a score.
What's it like preparing and getting ready for that?
I treat it like it's every other day, like every other practice. You kind of want to put yourself there every time, even when you're practicing. So like I like to stay as physically fit as I can, mentally there. I mean, your mental is like really more of it than it is physical. Like if your mind's not right, like you might as well just stay at home, like you got to be there mentally. But yeah, it's an everyday thing. You got to work towards it every day.
Even when you took a run today to sort of show me what it would look like, I thought like, oh, maybe you would treat it lightly because it is a steer and not a bull. And as soon as you put your gear on, you were locked in, prepping. I was like, don't disturb this person. I've been around enough professional athletes, like pregame, you were locked in a routine all the way down as getting in the chute and getting prepped. And I was like, oh, there's no not taking this seriously.
My chute procedure, I like to keep it as consistent as like, you're not going to, like you watching it right there, like you have no idea whether I'm getting on a bull or if I'm just getting on a steer that's going to, just jump kick across the pin. Like I want to be the same every time, which also helps you with like your, mental state, right? Like that kind of gets you in the zone
Locks you
every
in.
time, locks you in. Like, I mean, it's just, I do it the same every time.
You showed me the shoot procedure, and I took it to heart. But the funny thing is that there was a big bull, a big steer, and a little steer. You told me before we went that I was going to be riding on the little steer.
I didn't say
Yes, you
that.
did.
I didn't.
You said I'm riding the big black one.
I said I was going to get on him. But I didn't say anything about you getting on the little one.
We'll have to check the tape.
Yeah.
Anyway,
ahead.
I was led to believe that I would be riding the smaller steer. And the rope is, I'm like waiting for you guys to switch the rope. And you're like, no, you're riding this one.
Here's the better one to get on.
I mean, yes, in retroactively speaking, but at the time, the way that locked me in, and because I saw what it looked like with you.
Right.
That steer was not casual.
Right.
Like it was bucking you. You easily could have gotten bucked off. You went the full 8 seconds. And then I was like, wait, why would they do this to me?
Because he had the most kick out of the other one. You want that.
But it forced me to sort of doubly take serious everything that you gave me instruction-wise. Right. And that feeling inside the chute right before the gate opens, I put that up against anything I've ever felt paddling into a big wave, standing on the side of a mountain. I have never felt anything like that anticipation. And then whatever, maybe I was on there for 3 seconds. We'll say 3.5. But that 3.5 seconds actually riding the bull, I will never forget. That was the heaviest adrenaline rush I've ever felt.
Yeah.
And
it happens so fast, it's so quick.
I want to know how you got involved in this sport. And I imagine that it had to have been shaped sometime in your childhood. So how did you grow up?
So I grew up doing figure skating. I was actually figure skating first. My best friend growing up wanted to be a figure skater, so I obviously thought I had to be a figure skater. But then she got involved with horses. Like she was kind of over the ice skating, and so.
And where were you living?
In North Carolina.
Okay.
And so we did that, and then she took a horseback riding lesson, and I obviously had to take a horseback riding lesson. And it got to the point where I was doing both. I was figure skating and I was riding horses. When I started riding horses, like I was getting to the point where I was going to start horse showing, and figure skating, I was getting to the point where I was like, all right, like you're going to be like freestyle figure skating. And I was like, oh, my parents were like, you need to pick one. Like we can't do both. Like, so I picked horses. And so I grew up riding horses. My parents got me my first pony when I was 9 years old. He was not broke. He bucked me off quite a bit. They kind of said, if you want to ride him, you'll figure it out. He was in my backyard. And
so you had to break your own horse?
Yep, at 9 years old. And so like with the help of a trainer and stuff, but like he was in my backyard, so I didn't have like coaching every day. I just made this pony my best friend, tied him to my swing set, trampoline, he was my large dog. And so I was doing the horseback riding stuff. I was showing and I was moving up the ranks in that. And then I started working for this trainer because if you know anything about horses, they're very expensive animals. And so I started working for this trainer to kind of be able to afford horse showing. Like they have these things called catch riders where people will literally pay you for your showing to show their horses to get the miles and stuff on them. So I was doing that for this trainer.
Like a jockey of sorts.
Yeah, kind of. And
but
so
not racing.
Right, not racing, jumping.
Right.
I was riding jumping horses. And so like I was putting all these miles on these horses, riding the horses and ponies like she didn't want to, that were maybe a little bit more naughty. I'd been bucked off a couple of times. And then she had a bull rider that started hanging around, was like helping out in the barn chores and stuff. And like one day he was just like, hey, what do you guys think about riding a bull? And we were like,
how old were you?
17. And I was like, why would we do that? And he was like, well, you could say you did it once, mark it off your bucket list, kind of be like, I know this place, they've got beginner bulls, like, why don't you guys try it? And so we were like, yeah, sure. I was like, I'm already getting bucked off of these horses and ponies. Like, why wouldn't I just try riding a bull? And so we went to the practice pen. I fell off actually sooner than you did today.
Wait a minute. I was better than you on my first time around?
You were. Well, anyway, so my bull did turn back though. So
okay.
it's a little bit different. But no, I fell off immediately, landed on my head, and I got up, threw my hands up, was so excited.
You felt it. You felt the calling immediately.
I wouldn't say immediately. I just was kind of like, oh man, like I could totally stay on longer than that. Like that was weak. And so I went back the next Sunday, and this place bucks every Sunday. And so I went back to the next Sunday, and then I was trying to qualify a pony for pony finals because it was like my last junior year. And I didn't end up going to pony finals. We qualified, but I didn't end up going. And so then I started going back every weekend and was like, just started riding practice bulls. Like I just was getting on and just wanted to be as good as I could be. Like I didn't know that girls didn't ride, but I also didn't know that girls used to have their own women's association back in the day. I was just riding bulls because it was just this thing I had found that I had liked and wanted to get good at.
How did the parental units respond to this turn of, hey, mom and dad, I'm riding bulls?
Yeah, they didn't like it. Definitely forged their signature on my paperwork on the first one I got on. So
you forged your parents' signature.
Yeah, because I was 17.
Yeah, that's what literally in the job description of being 17. You got to forge something at least once.
They later kind of started to get supportive of it. They would drop me off, at the barn, and I'd be there all day, from sunup to sundown. But
they didn't forbid you.
I mean, I quickly turned 18 after the first one, so therefore they really couldn't.
That was
tell
your rebel.
Me.
That was your rebel yell.
Yep. And
I'm grown. You can't tell me what what to do and not do. I'm gonna ride these bulls.
Yeah, literally. It caused a lot of fights between my parents. My mom, I remember one really specifically. I got hurt, and she was really mad about it, but she got over it.
Feeling wise, though, there had to be a difference between riding the ponies and jumping and riding the bulls. Can you describe what that was? Because at a certain point, this feeling pulled you over to this direction permanently.
I mean, the horse stuff, it's so hard because with the horses, it's, about how much money you have, the nicest horse you have. Like, bull riding is definitely one of those things where it's more skill. Like it comes down to how much work I want to put into it, not like how much I can afford in a pony, if I can go to this horse show and stuff like that. Like it was a challenge, and it was a challenge that I could actually make a difference in because it was up to me and how much I wanted to put in, what the sacrifices I wanted to make for it. It had nothing to do, like the monetary part of it wasn't as significant as it is when you're dealing with like horse showing.
And your boots didn't probably need to be as shiny.
No, definitely not.
You mentioned off the top that there weren't many girls doing it. You learned the history of what it was, and that there had been women riding bulls back in the day. But in this male-dominated arena that you entered, how were you received?
I've been really fortunate. Like, I feel like I've always had just such a good support around me. Like, the practice pen that I grew up starting in, like, everyone was super supportive. And, like, I also took a lot of nasty hits and got hurt pretty fast, and I still wanted to do it. And so, in the beginning, I just would get on whatever they said, and I didn't really know any better. I didn't get a crash course like you did. Like, I literally showed up one day and said, "Here's a bull. Here's your bull. Get on."
So you got less than you gave me today.
Yeah. When I got on my first one, like, it was just like you're gonna do this and just say you did it, and like everyone was just so like chill about it, like and I think that's just because like I started to like put the work in. I went to a lot of bull riding schools. Like, I would just go and learn as much as I can, because the thing about bull riding is like everyone has their own techniques, and there's a set of fundamentals there to ride a bull, but everyone has their own little techniques and stuff like that. And I wanted to learn it all. Like, I wanted to absorb as much as I could. So I'd go to any school that was close to me, and I would do that. I would go to, I just wanted to learn. And I think people that were around me when I first started, like, appreciated that I wasn't just about, here, look at me, I'm just here, I'm a girl getting on a bull. Like, I really immersed myself in the lifestyle, like the care that went into the bulls, like how to flank a bull. Like I wanted to learn everything about it that I could. And I think the people appreciated that.
How would you describe your riding style?
I definitely like to stay really square, and like my free arm is really important to me for whatever reason. Like you saw me, I take my elbow, and then I also hold the ball
Yeah, I
of
saw
tape.
that you put tape around your bicep and your forearm to keep your free arm
Yeah.
stiff.
Yeah, which I probably don't need that anymore. It's just kind of become like this pacifier, and I feel like I have to have it, which is whatever. I just go through more tape. But I like to stay as correct as possible, meaning like tight and square as the bull's turning, or, I don't know. I've just always kind of really dialed in like being the most fundamentally correct as you could be. The difference like between male and female though is like men's hips naturally go front to back and women's don't. And so I actually spent a lot of time when I first started riding bulls and like was learning that there was these things I needed to work on, was that teaching I needed to teach my hips to go front and back, and we call that setting our hips on a bull. So when that bull kicks, we set our hips, and that means you push your hips forward. And women don't naturally have that. So like I really spent a lot of time when I first started like teaching myself how to properly set my hips and building that muscle memory to do that.
That's fascinating.
That's why women ride mechanical bulls so well, because you kind of ride them in a circular motion because the pivot point on those is in the center.
Right.
Or in a bucking bull, it's a further back pivot. And so their hips naturally go forward.
Mindset. There clearly was something about you mentally when you discovered bulls that you're like, oh, I want to go deeper into this, because you weren't tapping that necessarily horse jumping. Explain sort of what kind of mindset is required to not just do this as a one-off, but to make this a lifestyle, something that you're going to continue to pursue.
I mean, you have to be 110% dedicated to it. It's once you're in it, like you can definitely tell the people that spend their weeks preparing for the rodeo on the weekend and the guys that sit on the couch all week and then they just get on the weekends. Like you can tell those two apart pretty easily once you're in it for long enough.
Repetitively putting yourself in that mindset and challenging yourself physically to be dominant over this 2,000-pound animal. It makes no sense.
No.
What we're talking about. I remember sitting there in the chute before you pulled the gate open, and there was a part of my brain that was like, this is ludicrous. But then when I was done, I had never felt that kind of high and buzz. And there was a part of me that if you had said to me, hey, do you want to go again? I would have said yes.
It's the challenge. You know you can do better.
Immediately I was thinking about like, okay, here's what I could do different to maybe get to 4 seconds or 5 seconds. And I wanted to go again. Production, of course, would have been like, no, you're not doing it again.
You lived one time.
I think one of the first things I said to you after I came off the bull was, I've never done anything that required this level of 110% presence. Like you can't wander mentally, and your gaze can't wander.
No.
The second you take your eye up off
you go
of
where you look.
the back of that bull, you're going, like you said, wherever you look. And I think in a world that is so entirely distracting,
right,
and just trying to rob you of attention all the time, that mindset becomes clearly a superpower in how you're approaching life.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to be focused. I mean, you have to be. It can actually get you hurt.
Which leads me to my next question. I saw my life flashing before me as I was coming to the ground, came up, did a systems check, and I was like, thank you. You have taken all sorts of slams. And you mentioned earlier that you took bad injuries early on. So like, what were those?
So like early on, I wasn't coached properly on like the first handful of bulls I got on. Like I was just getting on and hoping for the best and wasn't really taught like form, or I was just getting on and hanging on. The very first one I got on, I rode right-handed. And then when I started going back is when they were like, you need to try left-handed because you're right arm dominant. And so I was riding left-handed and I got on like probably 15 bulls and I'd like cracked a bone in my wrist. Nothing serious, like didn't need a cast or anything. And 15 bulls, like when you're first starting out in something, you're pretty new to it. Like you're not really like, you don't have like a system. Like, and I was like, okay, well, I'm really new at this. Like maybe I'll just switch arms and go back to holding on with my right arm because like maybe I might like that more. And so I got on 3 bulls. And the third one was so strong leaving the bucking chute because I didn't know what I was doing that he actually snapped my wrist before I even hit the ground.
Come on.
And so I had to get a plate and screws put in my ulna, and then I just went back to left-handed with the cast on my arm because I was like, I mean...
Wait, so you were riding with the plate and the cast?
Yeah. Well, I still had the plate. It was in there forever.
But you had the cast on and you were riding. Mm-hmm. Parents were
because it was like it was going to be my new free arm. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go to my left hand and stick with that. Like once I broke my right arm and I got on 3 bulls.
That locked you into the left side.
Yep. So I was like... And that's kind of what they said is like, try right-handed and see if you like it. But then once you've kind of been on with both hands, pick one and stick with it. So I was like, well, I'm going to go left-handed, which I liked better anyway.
So right off the bat, wrists.
Yep.
Next up?
I think my broken jaw. I broke my jaw, took a horn to the side of the head. And
how'd you get the horn to the head?
I got jerked down. So that bull like left and he hit me in the side of the head. And I got up and I walked out and I thought I just dislocated my jaw. Like I was like, oh, they're just going to reset this, right? So my little sister was with me at this rodeo. It was just me and her. And I drive to the hospital that's like 5 minutes from my house because I was like, oh, it'll be close, right? Like, then I'll just go home. Like, they'll reset my jaw, I'll just go home. So I drove myself with my little sister to the hospital, and I called my mom, and I'm like, hey, like, I dislocated my jaw. Like, I'm, talking through my teeth. I'm like,
I love you so much.
Well, she starts cussing me, and she's mad, and I was like, whatever. So I go to the hospital, and she meets us there, obviously. And we're sitting in the waiting room and they go to call me back and my mom gets up to walk back there and I'm 18 at this point. I was like, nope, leave her out here. And so I left her in the waiting room and I went to the back and I texted her. I was like, if you can come back here and behave and not yell at me for this, you can come back here. And so she agreed and she came back there. Well, my jaw was broke. It wasn't dislocated. It was broke. And so they sent me back to a hospital that was actually 5 minutes to where I originally started.
From where you were?
Yeah, from where I was to get my jaw wired shut. So that happened. And then I stayed off of bulls for a little while because I was looking at getting a new helmet. Obviously. Well, I don't actually think I got a new helmet after that one because I broke my jaw again within a year. And so, yep. So then I broke my jaw again. And then I got in a car wreck. That was my collarbone, my scapula, and my humerus. And then I've broke my wrist again. That one was pretty crazy because I broke it on a Sunday and I was in Texas for a week. And I was entered that next Saturday. And the surgeon was like, oh, I think I could get you your surgery done on Thursday. And I said, well, you can't do it Tuesday because I'm entered on Saturday and I want a couple extra days before I get on. And so he agreed to it. So he did my surgery and then I rode on Saturday in the rodeo and then drove back.
That was your free arm that you'd broken?
Yeah, I broke my free arm. So I was like, whatever.
You say that so casually. But like you could literally slam and break it again.
I mean, there was metal in there.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what that does if you really mess it up. I haven't gotten that lucky, but...
The theme here, as we talk about these injuries, is when I asked you earlier, what were you chasing? It sounds like at this point you've fallen in love with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how could I not? Like this is a love relationship between you and this feeling and this relationship with the bulls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, And I'd gotten hurt a lot as a young kid before I had even rode bulls. And so, like, I guess injury is just kind of one of those things, like, it happens and I just got to pick myself up, work really hard to recover, and then I'm back to doing whatever I was doing before.
Okay, that sounds cool. But beyond the injuries you just described, you've had your life on the line.
Yes.
Like we don't even have besides the fact that ACLs,
Yep. Tib
fib, compound fracture,
tib plateau,
tibula plateau, which is the
meniscus.
worst, meniscus, which I think you told me you just said take it out.
Yeah, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
Okay, so get rid of the meniscus. Those are all horrible injuries. If I had a tib fib compound fracture, and compound means bone through the skin.
It was like barely through the skin.
It was through the skin nonetheless, man.
It was like barely.
You also had an internal injury
Right.
that could have ended your life. Explain that one.
So in 2020, I had a grade 5 lacerated liver. Just got stepped on. I had taken a bunch of Motrin.
Just got stepped on by a 2,000-pound animal.
Yeah. Sure.
How did that happen?
I just fell off to the outside. That bull turned back into my hand and I fell off away from my hand, like kind of how you did. But that bull was spinning. And so his back feet just stuck me right in the stomach. And I had taken a bunch of Motrin and I don't really drink. And I drank the night before. Like there was a lot of stuff to unpack. I was fighting with a boyfriend and I was not there mentally. And so when that happened, I like rolled over. And it's like one of only 2 times I've ever been carried out of an arena. I, was like, oh no, like this is bad. Ish. Like I was like, whatever. I was really worried about my collarbone. Like I really thought I broke my collarbone. But then they were like, no, it's fine. You did lacerate your liver. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll be out of here in the morning. Same thing as last time. They'll come in, check to see if I'm still bleeding, like take blood.
Because you had lacerated your liver before.
And it was only a grade 2. So that's like monitor you overnight kind of thing. And so I'm sitting in the hospital bed. They tell me this and I'm like, all right, cool. I'll be out of here tomorrow. Well, the blood pressure cuff on my arm, like can't pick up my blood pressure anymore. And so a doctor and a student come in and they're like, hey, can't read your blood pressure. We're going to stick this needle in the wrist of your artery. And I was like, okay. They're like, it's going to hurt. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And so they start sticking me. They stick me about 10 times. And the student was like, I'd like to try one more time. And I was like, I'd just kind of like it if y'all quit. And about the time I said that, that's when I saw a surgeon walk into the door frame holding 2 bags of blood and was like, hey, you guys got to stop. We got to get this girl back to the OR right now or she's going to die. I physically remember seeing them cut my stomach open and hands go inside me and everything went super white, bright, no emotions, wasn't mad, wasn't sad, wasn't in pain, nothing, just brightness. But then off in the distance, I could see a figure standing there. And I remembered saying, I'm not ready. And I woke up, which was 3 days later in a different hospital, and COVID has now shut down the whole entire world. So they had sent me from one hospital to the other. The first hospital had just gone in there to try to stop the bleeding, and then they sent me to a bigger hospital to be on the transplant list for a new liver, which I was on for 3 days while they had me induced in a coma because they were filtering out excess blood and all the fun stuff. And then it was COVID, so.
How long were you in the hospital?
2 weeks. So I had to stay after that because then I was super high risk for COVID. They didn't really know much about COVID and they're like, COVID's not in our hospital yet. Stay here.
Right.
Until we know more about the situation and stuff like that. And then they eventually sent me home, which was 5 hours away because I was in Tennessee.
Grade 5 liver tear, somehow intact enough to recover. Mm-hmm. And the liver is one of those magic organs that it literally can regenerate. Good as new. Super solid. You literally knocked on the door of leaving this dimension and perhaps heading into the next. Why, after that, continue?
I just feel like, and I you know, I'm a believer in God. I'm Christian. And I felt like God wouldn't give me this passion for it if I wasn't meant to do something with it. And he really gave me the desire to want to go back to bull riding. Like he just made me have this overwhelming feeling that I was meant to do more with it. And I just really truly believe that if I wasn't meant to do something with it, I wouldn't have had that drive to go back to it and had that fire to go back to it. And honestly had some of the best years of my riding even after that injury. So I really felt like my story wasn't done and there was something that I was meant to do with it, and that I wanted to be a positive light in what can be considered to be a dark world.
That is powerful. What does more mean, especially as a woman in this sport that is still mostly dominated by men? What has more meant as far as creating more space for women in bull riding?
So, I mean, immediately like after that injury, within 6 months is when I got the opportunity to go film that Netflix show with Dale Brisby, which is like crazy because you would never imagine, having the opportunity to do something like that when you're from North Carolina and you're just this random girl that rides bulls, right?
That show's called How to Be a Cowboy.
How to Be a Cowboy. And so that happened 6 months. I went to go film that after this injury. Only 6 months, which is not a lot of time, right? And so then like I was able to tell my story. I was able to, be a part of these women's associations and help grow them, and just the opportunities that just keep coming from it to like showcase that there are girls out here that do this and we love this sport and we just want to have our own space to do it and have, some cool opportunities.
What has the response been, or what have you seen as far as curiosity from women that would like to see what this sport is?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of people that have been, a lot of girls kind of come out of the woodwork like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys did that. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that for a long time too, So yeah, I've just seen a lot of people from all over the world kind of reach out, Brazil, Australia, Mexico, like, places that you would never think would reach have now been interested and been like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do that. Or, hey, like I do this locally at my rodeo. I didn't know that you guys were trying to create our own space.
And you started Elite Ladies Bull Riding.
2023.
People have been inspired by your story, by your dedication, by your tenacity when it comes to bull riding. You told me such a cool story earlier about getting hit up on Instagram and being DM'd by somebody who's coming to an event and says, hey, can I meet you? I have something for you. Now, in this digital age, some dude hits you up on Instagram, that
could be weird.
Could be weird, a little red flaggy. But what actually happened?
He ended up making me a pair of chaps, and it's the pair that I rode in today, and it's got my name on it, and it was a gift from he said the fans of Mexico. That's where he's from, and it was just a kind gesture that he did for me because he just appreciated what I do for little girls all around where he's at.
But what is that like? To know that someone has been so inspired by what you do, that they work tirelessly. These are beautifully crafted, and they bring you that. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other examples of people saying, hey, what you do has done something for me in my life. What is it like walking with that as you continue on this road?
It's kind of a lot of weight to handle sometimes, because like I'm just out here doing what I love, but I do love the fact that like it might inspire someone to go out and do what they love. And so that's all. I mean, it means a lot to me that people can see that in me and appreciate that.
At this point in your journey, you've been doing this now for over a decade. What's next? Like what would you envision sort of your world could look like that keeps you adjacent to this sport?
I think I'll always be involved with the sport, whether that means I end up owning bulls one day or doing schools for other girls. And I just think I'm going to always try to help the sport as much as I can. in the time that I can that I'm here. And then just, I don't know, I'll just always be a part of it in some way, shape, or form, whether that's filming, because that's kind of a new passion for me, or if it's owning bulls, or if it's helping girls, or if it's putting on events.
The Jorden Halvorsen School of Bull Riding has a really nice ring to it.
I've done a couple already. I mean, it worked good.
You're a great teacher. Worked good today.
Yeah.
I wonder, for people who are unfamiliar with how the bulls are cared for, or animals in general, in rodeo, how do you explain to people that these animals are treated well?
You know, that is like a very big thing when it comes to people that don't know about rodeo. You know, they think that we're abusive to them, we make them do these things. But at the end of the day, we don't. We treat them with a lot of respect. We take care of them before we take care of ourselves a lot of times. You know, like the flank rope, you know, a lot of people think we tie their jelly beans up in it, and we simply don't do that. I mean, the one that you got on today doesn't even have jelly beans.
Right.
And so, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, we're mistreating them. At the end of the day, these animals are trained for it. Like, they know their job, they know what they're supposed to do, and we do everything we can to take care of them. We want them to be healthy. You know, a lot of these people make their living with these bulls, and without them, like they'd have to find other means of living. And so I think it's just, to me, like from an outsider, like just know, like we care about these animals. Like we try to do the best we can. Like there's so many different things that are involved with the care of these things. You know, like we'll talk about roping, like a roping steer.
Right.
We actually put wraps around their horns so that when the rope gets on them, they don't get rope burn. Like we go, you know, we're doing these extra steps for them with bucking bulls. That rope that's around their flank, that just signals them to kick at it. It's a soft cotton rope. I've literally gotten on bulls with my bare hand and used it as a rope. That's how soft it is. It's not meant to hurt them. It's, you know, it's just signaling to that bull like, hey, I need to kick at this.
Right.
A lot of these bulls, you know, a lot of the bucking bulls, they start out really young, and bulls are creatures of habit. So like they'll do like the bucking dummies, and they'll put that box on their back, and they'll teach them how they want them to buck. So like they can press a remote and that thing will fall off, and the flank rope comes off with it. And so, you know, when they have a baby bull out there, you know, if it starts turning back, because that's ultimately what you want them to do, they'll click that, and they'll just teach them that's what they want. They're not going to buck if they don't want to.
I noticed it. I saw it today.
Yeah, we bucked him, and he just kind of walked out there. He didn't. Yeah, you can't make him do it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was blown away by that. And even like seeing them in the pen before they get in the chute, they're just chilling, like how docile as can be, checking out the dogs, etc. But once they got in the chute, they were like, all right, it's game time.
It's time to go. And, you know, there's some really great bucking bulls out there, some really big, powerful, really strong, can buck some of the best guys off in the world that are literally big dogs. You can literally go rub all over them. You know, there's an example of Addie Drury. You know, she's got this bucking bull that makes it to the PBR World Finals. She can sit on him in the back pen like a saddle horse. But when it's time for him to go play the game, he's playing the game at 110%, and he's bucking off his cowboys, which is crazy. You know, like you would, a lot of people just wouldn't think they're that friendly. Like some of them are that friendly. Now, not all of them are, but that's just the kind of care that goes into them, that people are able to build those kind of relationships with these animals, that they can trust them like that in the situation from bucking to not bucking.
It has been really, really like, it was, to say that today was thrilling would be an understatement. I'm still trying to come down. But getting perspective of your story and your dedication. I love the fact that it was a rebel yell against your parents.
Yeah, I'm sure that they love it too. My dad was more supportive than my mom, but my mom's still on the fence about it. She's still like, every time I tell her, like, I'm going to go get on, ugh, are you really? Seriously?
To this day.
Yeah. She actually, so we filmed that Netflix show in 2020, And she had never seen me ride a bull in person up until then. I got on my first one in 2012. So I'd been riding for like 8 years.
She'd never seen it.
Never seen me do it in person. My dad let me have bucking shoots at my house, at his house in the front yard. She was there on the property and didn't come out and watch me practice. And so after the Netflix show came out, she was like, hey, Jorden, like, I'd like to come watch you ride a bull if you get like a season 2. I was like, we're not doing that. You got to come watch me without cameras there before you get on camera and say you supported me.
Wait, Mom was trying to catch a close-up.
Yes, she was. And I was like, you've never even seen me do it in person. Now she has, because I said that. It's like now she wants to hang on to any opportunity that might come to her one day. But I was like, no, you've never seen me do it in person. You're not gonna do it the one time if there's a season 2.
They cut to her. She's like, I was always
supportive.
I encouraged her to stop ice skating because I could feel her passion. First for the horses and then the bulls. And like any mother, I was just like, honey, I've got you.
Yeah. Yep.
No.
Yeah, she didn't really like it. But I don't blame her. Like, I'm her daughter. Like, I got hurt a lot.
If you had kids and your daughter comes to you and says, Mommy, I want to ride bulls.
I wouldn't let them just get on right away. Like, I would make them show me that they're going to put the work in for it. Before, like, I might let them get on, one when they got a little bit older. But I would make them show me that they want it. Be like, all right, cool. Show me. And I'll teach them everything they want to know, like if they did. But I don't know that I would encourage it. Like, I don't know that I'm going to be like, hey, you should ride bulls because I did. Like, I'm not going to do that. When you grow up,
you're going to be just like Mom.
No, I'm not going to do that. But if they came to me, like, I would want them to come to me on their own terms. She would have to be like, yeah, I want to try riding bulls because you did. I'd be like, all right, cool. We'll put you on one. And then if you want to get on another one, you got to show me you want to.
Do you think that you could look to camera and just give us a rundown as best you can of all of your injuries over time?
So I've broken my right wrist twice. I've broken my left wrist once. Those all have metal in it. I had a tib-fib fracture. I had a tib plateau fracture. I've torn my ACL, MCL twice on my right knee. Wait, am I just doing bull riding? I've had a grade 2 liver laceration. I've had a greater than grade 5 liver laceration. I've like broke some feet here and there, some fingers. I broke my jaw twice. Yeah.
The fact that I had to remind you.
Oh, there's just so many of them.
And I imagine maybe you've been concussed?
Oh, definitely concussed.
I just love that you can describe all of those things with a smile.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I lived. I'm still here.
I mean, that's a great way to just look at whatever you run into in life. Mm-hmm. I lived. I'm still here. So let's keep going.
Yep.
Jorden Halvorsen, it has been a supreme pleasure to have this conversation with you. And I thoroughly look forward to watching you under the lights in Beaumont.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
It's going to be fun. Thank you.
Next time on the Team Ignition Show.
Where you at?
My deep Achilles is that I do not know how to jump. Dude, this place is incredible.
I can't believe I made a mistake.
This is gonna be sick.